Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to our second best out of three and our final semifinal match of the day. This is game number one of Team Psy, technically Zenith, playing up against MUFC. And it looks like MUFC, I believe they may be using one stand-in. But either way, I'm LD. I'm joined here today by GoDz. We're David and David of Beyond the Summit. And GoDz, this should be a pretty interesting back and forth. It looks like Ice will be playing for Zenith today.
Yeah, that's the big key sort of playmaker that I feel the Zenith team need if they want to take down MUFC. Their last match, their quarterfinal match, I believe, was against First Departure, where it went to 3 games. It wasn't an easy run. And that epic game number 3, I was watching you stream with that Tiny, was just absolutely insane. But with Ice, I feel they're a much more stable and strong team. So MUFC better be ready for this, and playing with a stand-in if that is in fact a stand-in, isn't something that's going to make this match any easier for them.
Yeah, it looks like, who are they missing? Lane appears to be not in this game, and, well, a pretty important support player for them. Oh, it is Lane. Okay. Or it's someone who smurfs as Lane. So we can assume it's Lane. We can assume they do have their full roster, and oh, this is the cheese. This is, you know, we talk all the time about EG having cheese. Zenith is a very cheesy team. They love their global, they love their split push, and they love their stinking Naga. Profit pushing one lane, Tinker another, just constant split push, constant try to win through farming advantage. This is, I mean, seriously, this is extra cheddar on top. Come on now.
And even Naga Siren as a split pusher is a pain in the ass to deal with because of the Song of the Siren. You gank Naga Siren, pop the ultimate, especially if you go that Lincoln Sphere build, which Zenith, they were the first team to start doing that Lincoln Sphere first item on Naga Siren. Teams before were going for a Vanguard Radiant. Maybe some of the Chinese teams were rushing Heart Diffusal, but Zenith, back before TI2, were going straight Lincoln Sphere, and as a split push item, it's great. They can't initiate on you and then stop you getting off the ultimate. Maybe they come out from smoke, telekinesis doesn't land, and it gives Naga Siren time to get off the ultimate and TP the hell out. So this is just going to be pure annoying split push, and Zenith just needs some stable and strong support heroes to back up what they've already picked up. So we'll have to see what MUFC want to ban. MUFC, don't get me wrong, they've got some strong heroes of their own. They've got a much sort of stronger laning stage by the looks of things, at least at this point, and that's kind of where they have to look to dominate Zenith.
And if the game goes late and they have a decent start, Sven can deal with Naga quite easily. Just instantly the illusions will die to 1 or 2 cleaves. Tinker Profit a bit trickier, but when you have that BKB, the most they can do is submerge the machine's damage. And with this kind of a lineup, your Profit's not going to be going for at least early damage items. Maybe later on he will if the game drags out, but he'll be going for probably the quick mech, sort of those utility items, which means he won't really be a threat to Sven when he's in BKB form. To give a tiny bit of context to this match real quickly, because I just realized I haven't shown the brackets yet, we are in our second semifinal, and it's Zenith versus MUFC. We just finished witnessing, spoiler alert, Orange take down Natural 9 in a 3-game series that, well, technically it was a 2-1 victory, but really it was a 2-0. They look pretty strong. As expected, we're able to defeat Natural 9 there, and so the winner of this has Orange waiting for them, probably the most consistent and most respected Southeast Asian team. But here we are, GoDz, in game number 1 of Team Psy/Zenith versus MUFC. These guys have how many teams do they have anyway? It's TI3 Champ, it's Psy, it's Zenith. You could also even say maybe they're Aeon, because they have quite a few former Aeon players who play for them here and there. They're all over the place.
My favorite was 1v5. Ice called themselves 1v5 for a while. That was the name they used when they played the ACG Singapore qualifier. But at the moment, it's Psy. They're going for some Gangnam style type moves this game, and they're definitely going with something very cheesy, very corny with this draft. And what their 4th pick is going to be, maybe they look for something like the Enigma. Have that either a solo option, they can run Nature's Prophet or Enigma in the jungle. The other one could be a solo hero, and it's a perfect setup with the Naga Siren ultimate. So Enigma's still in the pool, and that's a dangerous hero for MUFC to go up against, as it looks like MUFC want to push. Speaking of dangerous hero, Keeper of the Light, that just fits so well with this Zenith draft.
Oh, it's thank God the Twin-Headed Dragon is banned out, because you know they would love to pick that up as well, if not. And it actually, it does, what are they going to do to, what is MUFC going to do to deal with this? I feel like maybe you just go for ultra aggression and ganking and get something like a Night Stalker here. I don't know if there's any way for them to take this to the mid to late game without having a big advantage in towers and gold. It's just, we've seen it before. It's death by a million cuts, and that's the kind of lineup Zenith can bring to bear come that 20-30 minute mark.
Yeah, so MUFC, I feel they need some strong solo hero who can just control the game here. Problem is, maybe they're just going for an offlane hero. Ohio does like to play that solo mid Rubik. We've seen Sven Lestrak be a powerful dual lane with the Chen, but then they're just looking to pick up a last pick for their offlane hero, but it's not going to be a hero that can really control the game. So I feel maybe MUFC have to do something different. Maybe they go offensive tri-lane and pick up some safe lane solo, which can have a greater impact over this game, can control it much better. Even if it's just something like an invoker just to help deal with that split push and push back. I don't know. They need something with a bit of oomph. It can't just be a suicide solo here.
Yeah, it's got to be something more. You know, they do what they could even do. Like, normally you'd look at this lineup and say, okay, MUFC, they have the makings of a pretty strong tri-lane. The problem is they really can't tri-lane because they're up against a Prophet, at least not offensively, because they're up against a Prophet, they're up against a Naga and a Keeper of the Light. So you have the Prophet who can TP in, and then you have Keeper of the Light with Illuminate and with the Naga net, where tower diving these guys is so tricky early on. What do MUFC do? They go for an Enigma. They go for more pushing power. They want to get those early items up, things like Mechanism, Drums, and just start knocking down towers, take the fight to Zenith, get the advantage before Zenith can get their Boots of Travel, their Force Staves up, and just start stalling the game.
Yeah, we're going to see Enigma probably in the hands of Sharky in that offlane is something that he does play fairly regularly, but Bane Atropos, the last pick, and this is a nice little setup. You can sleep heroes, ensure that the Illuminate lands. It's just this interesting little support hero that they can combine, give them some killing potential, because that's kind of what they were lacking with those first four picks. They didn't really have any setup hero, any heroes to ensure the kills with the disable, but they can't really get something like a Sand King to go in the front lines because they're playing this very hidden runs type of play. They want to just sort of pelt away from as far away as possible. They don't want to have to fully engage. So Bane is great for that. He can use that grip from far away. He can just be a long-range nuisance to set up those kills. So I feel this pick is actually really clever from Zenith.
You know, I love this pick because you also have Keeper of the Light. You channel a full Illuminate while he slept, and then you just unload on him. It's so much damage. Then when he tries to run, the net's there to follow up. And like you said, they needed tons of setup, but I think they needed someone who's stronger in the lane than, say a Shadow Shaman, who actually may have been banned. I can't even remember at this point, but gives you that kind of, or a Lion would have been another option along those lines. But this hero's a lot stronger and a lot more durable in the laning phase. We are going to have a quick remake as, well, not sure why, but I know Extinct was in the game and the admins wanted him out, so that's one factor. Damn you, Extinct. Why must you be so awesome most of the time, but in this case, a little annoying.
I don't think Extinct is at the same LAN cafe as Ice, so I don't think it's actually gonna. I mean, well, you can just watch from behind Ice's shoulder if he really wants.
Exactly.
It's a bit of
if Ice lets him, but these guys, it's one of those awkward things where you're teammates for one event, your enemies for another. Things get blurry. Things get a little blurry.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get him in trouble or anything, but from what I hear is that it was actually Ice playing the side lane solo those last two games, not KYXY, but that's just what I hear. I'm not confirming nor denying that, but he's at the same LAN cafe as Orange, and you guys can put two and two together, much like I have done with some information.
Well, GoDz has been wrong before with his quote-unquote sources, so we'll say it's possible. We'll leave it at that. We don't have photographic evidence. We don't have, as far as I know, any cam footage. Boy, that sounded a little bit inappropriate.
Cam footage of Ice. That's what everyone wants. There was enough sort of on show at TI2 with him playing in box.
Actually, you know what? We do have cam footage of him. It's webcam footage of an interview, but nonetheless, we have some.
Anyways, the remake coming out. So Zenith, they've just gone for this Zenith type draft. This is just it's so typical of them to go with something this damn annoying, and it's really just so enjoyable to watch them because they're one of the few teams who will just go all. They don't sort of go halfway. They go the full shebang with getting these just impossible heroes to verse, especially if you give them any room to work with, give them the slightest lead. So MUFC, they really just have to play a very perfect and precise game, I feel.
We'll see if they can pull it off. It's a very interesting clash in styles from these teams. I don't know, guys. We've seen Zenith play this kind of lineup so many times. Even when they lose the game doing it, it takes forever for them to lose. And unless MUFC have a godly start, this game is probably going 40+ minutes.
The amount of stall with Tinker, Keeper of the Light, I mean, just and not even just the sheer defensive abilities from their spells, but also just counter pushing. You want to go push mid if you're MUFC? Nope, you got to defend bottom. You got to defend top. It's not a fun strategy to verse. So we'll see how MUFC want to deal with this now. And it's like you say, the only way they end this fast is if they get a completely one-sided laning stage and just really steamroll through Zenith, which is it's not something to do when it's with Zenith we're talking about.
It's possible, but it's very, very difficult. And, you know, the key pick for us is that Keeper of the Light. He's just such a good hero to... Even if your team's behind, it's still hard to push into him. Whereas if Prophet's not 6, if Tinker doesn't have his boots of travel, or he hasn't gotten that many points in March, you can still push some towers early. But Keeper of the Light, even from level 2 or 3, good luck. Like, seriously, you need a mech, you maybe... or a kill on him to actually get the tower easily.
Yeah, it's really hard to do that, and it's something that Chinese teams do when they pick him light. They just get him levels early on. They don't look to sort of have him control the lane and take part in the lane. They just get those fast level 4, level 5, and then he's just such a powerful threat. He can come out when you're least expecting. Those Illuminates, they hurt.
Well, God, since we have a moment, I think it's a great time to remind everyone about just a little more details about this tournament. Again, it is presented, of course, by Beyond the Summit. That's us, David and David, but it's brought to you by Dota Talk. They're the administrators behind this event. They're the guys who've been organizing the event as well, in conjunction, in sort of collaboration with GEST, of course. So be sure, if you're not already doing so, you should be supporting these guys. It's facebook.com/Dota Talk, I believe. Yes, it is. And it's also facebook.com/GEST Dota 2. So if you use Facebook at all, go ahead, like those pages. You get lots of updates. You get quite a few funny pictures from Dota Talk, just sort of cheesy, random Reddit-type meme stuff, and, you know, fun content, but also you will get updates on the tournament, on future events, and from what I understand, both of these guys, they have big things planned for next year. I know even for GEST IDC, they're looking at sort of revamping and hopefully improving the Dota 1 tournament series, which I assume means that the Dota 2 tournaments will be under consideration for improvements and sort of additions in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And for a lot of people probably tuning in who just heard about GEST because of Dota 2, it's actually been the GEST and Dota 1 with the Dota 1 competition in Southeast Asia. It stands for the Gigabyte Esports Tournament. The entire thing is sponsored by Gigabyte. So big shout out to Gigabyte and Gigabyte mainboards for continuing to support Dota tournaments. The GEST IDC has been running for about 8 or 9 months. It goes for a year, and it's $30,000 in prize pool, and it's now come over to Dota 2. So it's been a long-lasting tournament, and it just brings high-quality matches month in, month out. So be sure to go on the Gigabyte Facebook page, and just next time you consider buying a mainboard, go Gigabyte. This is not something I'm paid to do from Gigabyte. They actually have some of the best motherboards out there as far as reliability, and the actual mainboards themselves are so much reliable.
I've built quite a few computers myself. The one thing I'll say about Gigabyte is they're not... Like, for example, you can get Asus for a lot of computers, which is always great quality, but they're expensive. That's the one thing about Asus, whereas Gigabyte tends to be sort of a good combination of affordable and pretty nice. I think I might have a different company for this computer's motherboard, but don't tell Gigabyte guys. Don't tell them. Hopefully,
that's all right.
Hopefully Danny's not listening in, or I'm gonna get fired.
Danny's probably already sending you a Gigabyte mainboard as we speak.
I would love one, because mine's actually been on the fritz lately. But desperately, shamelessly trying to beg for free hardware. That's what you get on Beyond the Summit when, well, we're still waiting for that reconnect from Ling, that restart for the PC. I will say the one downside to casting, well, it's not only Asian games. I know Sexy Bamboo has just this absolute, like, appropriately a bamboo PC, but a lot of these Southeast Asian teams do seem to have really crappy PCs. It takes them forever to load. They're constantly crashing. So it was one thing you'd like to see either Dota 2 improve to accommodate them, or, you know, maybe the sponsors step their game up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go. MUFC and Ray. Apparently MUFC have a training house being set up, is what I've seen a few times on Twitter by one of their sponsors, or at least their manager, maybe, that they're going to be in a training house soon, or at least have a training house set up for them. So they're not going to be... Awesome. Most of the Southeast Asian teams just play from their cyber cafes, which is why they have so many either PC issues or internet issues. It's because, well, cyber cafes have got 20, 30, 50, 100 computers there, so there's a lot more ability for something to go wrong when you have that many computers being regularly used.
Right, and of course the internet connection's under more strain. Maybe the power strip blows out. Well, hopefully they're not blowing out, but, you know, sometimes it gets overloaded. These sorts of things definitely happen, and of course, it's not just in Southeast Asia. It just seems that way, because, well, we cast a lot of their games, so maybe it's just a lack of perspective from my part. But the good news is, it doesn't matter, because we're about to get underway. This is MUFC. Well, I say that, but he's got to load first, so let me not... There we go. Lane loads in. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready. Hang on to your hats, because game number 1 of MUFC versus Zenith for the GEST Dota 2 semifinals is about to begin. We're into the game, we're into the picks, and one last look at the brackets before this game really begins. Zenith versus MUFC fighting for the right to compete against Orange, who just finished taking down Natural 9 today. Orange looking pretty solid, looking pretty stable, and, well, Ice can't play for both teams, God, so if he was playing for... at least I don't think he can. If he was playing for Orange, he's going to have to make up his mind for tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm wondering what happens tomorrow if Ice makes an appearance for Zenith or if he's playing for Orange. Then maybe he just, being the huge troll he is, maybe he just sets up 2 computers in the Orange Cafe and plays for both teams at the same time. Either way, he wins, so it's a win-win situation for him. His teammates may not be the most pleased, but this is an AP this is AP Rumac, of course, so we don't even have to go through the draft here. It is going to be Zenith over on that dire side under the name of Psy and MUFC playing for the red side. This is just game number 1. We did have a few delays as our previous match did go a bit late, unfortunately. But hey, this match, best of 3, this is just game number 1.
And it is, and let's go ahead, introduce those players, resituate ourselves. Game 1, like you said, kicking off now. Freedom on the Keeper of the Light. Meanwhile, we have Ice on his ever so annoying Naga Siren. This has to get in his head a little bit, just constantly switching between roles, but he has proven himself to be fairly versatile as far as players on the scene go. Kane, formerly of Aeon, playing that Nature's Prophet. Of course, we have XY on his Tinker, playing that farmer role. And last but not least, it is Sawaman, who has a name I refuse to pronounce because, well, it sounds like something else. He's playing that main.
Is that Swaman or is it someone else?
I believe I did some research on him, and I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure it's Swaman.
That's okay. I never know for sure with these Zenith players with all their unusual names that they use. At least they're not using a certain name, which they got a lot of flame on Reddit for a while ago.
Oh god.
But
yeah, let's forget about that one.
MUFC. We've got Sharky playing the Enigma at top lane. We've got Chen in the hands of Ling, who's just reconnected and no longer having PC issues. Got Ahayo playing the Rubik at mid lane. We've got Ken on the farming Sven. And then Leshrak in the hands of Net, or 10 as he's going under.
Ken 10
and it looks like this... Jeez, this is going to get completely annoying. I'll call Net Ken on numerous occasions. I'll get confused with Sven. But this is going to be an Enigma as the top lane solo. This is not the easiest lane for Sharky, but they've got... He's going to deny one, and also Chen's going to send one back, so this makes his life a little bit easier.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is going to be rather annoying for Ice. But the good news is the camps aren't warded, so... they could do a bunch of pulling of their own. Guys, we talked about this game. Our attitude on it right now is that Zenith, if they get up the core items and levels, their mid-game split push is just going to be unbearably strong. It's even if MUFC can win late, it's going to be such a pain in the butt to do it. How are we looking so far? Does it look like MUFC can actually shut them down? They do have a Tinker solo mid. He's rather gankable, but there's some great wards that are going to spot a smoke gank if it comes from the bottom side of the river. What do you think about these lanes? Do you think MUFC have what it takes to find some kills, find some early towers?
If they can get... I don't think they have to get the super early towers. They just want to make sure they're not giving King any XP or farm at this bottom lane. They want to try to prevent these treants coming in and pulling a creep wave like we're seeing now. And if King can get some XP, if he gets his level 2, level 3, gets the teleport up, he's going to have a much better time this game. And so far... for MUFC, they want to get those kills. They want to go for an early smoke gank, and that's what we're going to see from this Chen, who also picked up that level 1 Bassi ring. So with that, it really suggests they want to push down towers early. But against the Nature's Prophet, it's not easy. Treants, great for helping pull the creep waves off the tower.
This pretty much screams, I want to smoke gank the bottom lane. I want to smoke gank the safe lane, because that's the lane where they have a Leshrak, that's where Edict comes in, and it's the easiest tower to push. It's also the hardest for Zenith to respond to. Keeper of the Light would have to TP down to deal with it, so we can pretty much tell that's the game plan for them. At some point in the next couple of minutes, maybe at the latest by that 5-6 minute mark, we're going to see a smoke, and we're going to see a gank attempt on the bottom lane, and Prophet is a fairly gankable offlane hero, squishy, and they have enough chain stun that he's not just going to be able to TP away guaranteed.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll see Enigma at the top lane. He gets some farm and XP under his tower, so it looks like both offlane solos for the time being do get their level 2s, aren't getting completely denied, and it's Freedom who's just in that jungle stacking neutral camps, and this is sort of a big investment as a keeper of the light. You just want to stack all those neutral camps, and then later on, you get your level 2 Illuminate, you get your level 3 Illuminate, and you can take them down really easily, really fast, maybe even have Naga Siren come help and take some of the farm and XP as well.
Or even the Tinker, if, say, the Ancients are being contested, if the tower's gone there. Speaking of the Tinker, they're stacking the bottom lane as well. I think it's Kane who's been doing it, probably with the Treants. He's hitting level 2, he pulled the wave back. I gotta say, Zenith are, sure, the lineup's cheesy, but they're doing all those little things right. Stacking the neutrals in their own jungle, stacking the Ancients to give the Tinker some additional farm, and the Courier a little bit out of position. It'll be okay, though. Making me nervous, but... You know, GoDz, they're milking every last drop out of this map.
Mid lane, they've gone in on XY. They've got the Incinerator to follow up a Telekinesis. Is there enough damage? March level 2. First Blood goes to Rubik, and that's a smart gank from MUFC. Chen doesn't have to use the smoke for it. He just has to wait for the Telekinesis initiation.
We thought maybe, we figured the gank would come towards bottom, at least I did, but he didn't use the smoke, so he's still got that, and you can't really push the mid lane, because, of course, Prophet will TP, and plus Tinker is going to respawn quickly, but they're getting far bottom. They've shut down mid a little bit. Chen's not wasting a lot of time ganking. We're not seeing epic journeys around the map. We're just seeing a quick trip mid, and that's the nice thing about this Rubik solo mid. You don't need Chen to initiate. He just follows up. That's certainly sufficient, so it makes you take a less lengthy path towards that mid lane, and he's almost going to hit level 5 off this.
Yeah, we're gonna see Rubik at mid lane, getting a lot of levels as well. So for now, it is MUFC who do seem to be having the slightly better early game start. Chen, if he can get that fast level 5, will have that second creep, and then we really look to start pushing down that bottom lane, getting those early towers with the battering. Nature's Prophet is just stacking Ancients. This is the good thing about having the Nature's Prophet as an offlane hero. If you can't get XP and farm, you just sort of invest for the future. You've got the March of the Machine build coming on Tinker. You've got Keeper of the Light doing the same thing in the neutrals. This is going to be... Zenith sort of struggling early on with the laning stage, but they can catch up very quickly if they get the neutrals and ancient stacks.
At the same time, if they lose the tier 1 bottom, it gets a lot harder to farm those. It gets very dangerous to do it.
Nah, absolutely. They don't want to be giving up the tower too fast, but I think Nature's Prophet does alright holding the tower just because you have the Treants. If they go to push, you pull the creep wave back, and then the only way they can push is if Chen creeps and the heroes are tanking that tower. So it's not the easiest hero to push into. It's not like a bounty hunter or something, and for the time being, it's something that Zenith can do at top lane as well. They can push into this Enigma. Naga Siren already level 5. They've got 3 heroes at top. Keeper of the Light can help clear the creep waves. They could look to take down an early tier 1 themselves.
If a fight goes really poorly for Zenith, and and they lose a big fight near those stacked camps, MUFC can kill them. They have Sven, they have Enigma, and Chen, who are pretty good against even stacked Ancients early. Just having stuff that can tank the tower's top lane, though. Sharky in a lot of trouble. The net starts it off. The slice and dice will finish it. Ice gets the kill, and that's off-lane Enigma for you. Yeah, he can keep the lane back to some extent, although he's only level 2. He's not getting much out of this, and if they ever catch him and they have long-range initiation from sleep as well as from net, he's dead. He is not tanking through that.
Oh yeah, no way of getting out of there, and that's something that Sharky at this top lane is going to have a really tough time dealing with. He still hasn't got his Soul Ring up, and until then, he may just have to go into the neutrals, take some of those big camps and look to catch up there. He is heading back top. Meanwhile, in the neutrals, it's Chen, who's gone for a smoke, looking to sort of go for a bit of a backstab from behind, but not going to find anything. In fact, Keeper of the Light almost going to scout out Ling in just a second here, and Ling... well, he's not finding anyone here at this bottom lane.
They have scouted out the Ancient stack, and, well, this should come as no surprise. Pretty obvious they would be looking to do that, but looks like they're in a good position to get this tier 1. I don't really think Tinker can get in range to March. He may try, but this could be trouble for him. Ken, on the other side of the tower, maybe should have been positioned a little more aggressively. Meanwhile, Ice driving Sharky back, trying to push that top lane. Well, not even push, just diving for the kill, it looks like. There aren't any creeps there. XY just finagling around. They really want to hold on to this tower. They know it's important, but they are not able to do so. Level 5 up on Chen with the double creeps and the tornado still going. Freedom has arrived, and this might be the end of the push, or it might be just a Chen creep. Oh, is it going to catch out Freedom? It could stop. It is a tiny bit faster than him. Oh, he does catch him. He pins him in, but the Sprout is there to help keep Net alive. Stormbolt can fly. Freedom is dead. Just wants to do some damage before he goes. Now the Stormbolt wisely saved onto King. Double kill from the Chen of all heroes. 5 heroes from MUFC bottom. And GoDz, they're stealing some Ancients, or at least hoping to.
Well, for now, it's XY accidentally luring them away, but MUFC 2... 2 kills and they get out of there. 2 heroes, Chen, Leshak, both very low HP, but get out of there okay, and that's the good news for them. They need to get these kills. They can't afford to give Zenith too much to go their way. Zenith, oh, King, he's found Chen. He's found Chen in the jungle. TP's in, predicts his movement, and now King can just TP home. He's got a TP scroll as well. Cheeky bit of play there from him.
Ballsy as well, because there are tons of stuns. If he gets caught by any combination of 2 heroes, he's dead, but he doesn't. Ken, by the way, is having just a great start to this game, as is Ice Ice Ice, but Sven is a hero a little bit stronger once he gets that first item up, and he's going to have a BKB quickly. Now, they do have good control for that BKB. They have a net. Once they have the Bane ult, that also goes through it. So they have ways to lock down Sven. Of course, Enfeeble as well. Even using your BKB won't remove it. It is undispellable now. Had an interesting little Dota trivia segment about that one, but yeah, it's a very, they have a good lineup to deal with Sven to some extent, but at the same time, if he has a BKB by that 12-minute mark, that's still going to make life really tricky for Zenith.
Yeah, it's a hero that can just get so aggressive. He's going for the max points in Warcry, not worried about getting stats. The one thing he is going to have is mana problems, so you need to see the support heroes, the Leshrac, the Chen, get those fast arcane boots up. Otherwise, Ken just won't have the mana to support this build.
They've got them on the Rubik already.
Yeah, Rubik already. Chen almost definitely will pick some up, probably at that 1k gold mark. I mean, Mech is great on Chen, but you need the arcane boots, especially with the added mana cost to the test of faith when you want to save your teammates. So it's almost essential to get a couple arcane boots. And, well, this Sven is going to be pretty scary, pretty damn soon.
XY, he is just, has he even bought a bottle this game? I think he's just rushing naked boots of travel. He's going to have them soon if they don't kill him, and this is a bit of a, it's a smart build if he gets it off. If he's able to survive, and, well, he's playing very defensively, not even near that middle lane anymore. He knows he's a prime target for consistent ganks, and he's going to have a reasonable pair of boots of travel. Sure, he doesn't have Soul Ring, he doesn't have Bottle yet, but you can farm those up a lot more easily than you can farm that recipe.
Yeah, absolutely. He just wants to get the boots of travel as fast as possible here, and, well, these neutral stacks are helping him accomplish that. Keeper of the Light doing a good job of making sure there's plenty of farm to go around. Freedom, well, he's getting some farm of his own, and right now MUFC, sure, they've got this big farming Sven.
Look at this.
Enigma's had a tough time at top. They're just not really making the best of their time, I feel.
Freedom has a Soul Ring. This one you don't see every day on Keeper of the Light. Oh,
that's something different, but I think, yeah, it's just really using that Illuminate as much as possible just to farm neutrals. Practically a jungle Keeper of the Light as of late. Ice 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 at top lane, with this support coming from the Keeper of the Light and the Bane, has managed to get himself up to 2.5k gold as well. He's leading the CS charts by a small margin, but it's right now looking pretty good for Zenith as far as controlling the lanes are going and getting their key heroes, their items, to just be annoying. We mentioned earlier how global the Nature's Prophet and Tigger be, how annoying their split push is going to be. They need the early game farm to do that, and right now they've got it.
Absolutely. At this rate, if MUFC don't find a kill soon, we're going to see a Radiance up on Ice 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 in probably the next couple of minutes. Oh, it comes the Illuminate, just misses on Sharky, or they would have gone on him. MUFC is smoked up. They want to go. Can they find Ice Ice Ice? Remember, this is a farming Rubik. He's got Brain Sap. They've got a lot of burst damage. Malphus in 3 seconds. Ice 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 is not in a good spot. He will sleep everyone and try to hope it out of here. He doesn't have a TP scroll. Will they be able to catch up with him? Doesn't look like a Keeper of the Light to run away. Now the Sven Warcry, they want this kill. They're giving chase. Ice 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 still running. He will escape. This buys times for XY, who has managed to secure his boots of travel. Good thing. That's the get out of jail free card right there. Any other hero in that position, they're dead.
Yeah, this is what's going to be really annoying for MUFC this game. They have to be very, very precise with their ganks in the order the heroes run in. They need to have Rubik sort of leading with the telekinesis, or Sven. Even Sven Stormbolt isn't going to be enough. Naga Siren can cast a Song of the Siren while the Stormbolt's being cast. Telekinesis is probably the most instant long-range disable they've got, but even so, Ice 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 with his positioning sees the heroes coming, easily gets that off, and MUFC, they do get a tier 1 tower out of this, but Zenith, they're doing their best to trade at the mid lane.
Zenith may not quite get the tier 1 mid. There is a glyph up, but they are going to do some chip damage. They'll force a couple TPs. MUFC now up 2 towers to 0, but that won't last forever. Ice 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 gets caught. Something stolen. It's the Riptide. Whoop. That's going to help the split pushing issues quite a bit. That's the one other thing MUFC does have going for them. Rubik is a great anti-pusher when there's so many spells on the board to steal. Looks like the bottom tier 1 might be claimed, though. No sign from MUFC. They want to defend this. Do you want to be trading towers in this position?
I just think they decided it's all they can really do. Oh, actually, no, Leshrac with TPs. They've got heroes with TPs, but I don't think they really want to. It's just map control against this split push of Zenith. Keeping those tier 1 towers up as long as possible is a crucial thing, but it's going to be top lane. They're looking for Ice Ice Ice. No ultimate at the time being. Big Illuminate coming in. Black Hole from Sharky. They will take it Ice Ice Ice, but here comes XY with the rockets. I believe a mech already up on Chen, so didn't go for the Arcane Boots. And Zenith, they've overextended here. Big split hits 2. Oh, Suwamon as well as King inside of that, but it's the Illuminate, the Master of the Machine, the AoE damage from Zenith, just tearing apart some of these MUFC heroes. Sharky got himself a triple, even from the grave.
This is a team wipe. Oh no, XY barely to escape that tornado, doing so much work in the fight. You know, that's one of the rare situations where you see a team fight under March of the Machines and Illuminate and come out on top, and it's the early mech and it's the Chen. Without those two things, even with only one of them, they would have definitely lost that fight, no question about it. But GoDz, they come out hugely on top, and we said MUFC, they need a decent early to mid game. They need to get some towers and win some fights. Talk about winning a fight. That was a massive victory for them, and the gold graph is reflecting it. Looking at a 4,000 gold lead almost for them, which this early on against such a good farming team is quite an advantage experience-wise, and this is the bigger one. It's even better for them. Quite a big experience lead. Still, Zenith, they're going to get their claws in somewhere no matter what, and that's what we're seeing right now. Ancient Stack is being farmed up. After a bad fight, they still get a huge spike in gold.
Yeah, even after a bad fight, it's one of those things where Zenith, they lose a fight, they fall behind a bit, they can make up for it so much faster than MUFC because of their ability to just farm all across the map. So MUFC need to continually gank, continually take fights, take kills, and that's what they're doing with this Smokey. They're looking for more. They're looking for XY at mid. He's going to get stunned up. Can Zenith actually get out of here? Big Illuminate coming in from Freedom. XY gets stunned up, and there's the follow-up damage coming from Net. They do take out Tinker. Ice Ice Ice, he's got an ultimate here. He may have to pop that if he wants to try to get some follow-up kills, but the chain stun's just too much from...
Oh, God. Double kill from Kane, and they come out on top of that. Tinker, at this point, his role in this game is just to spam March of the Machines and push the lanes out. He's not going to be a big contributor for a while. It comes down to Ice 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 getting the Radiance, and, well, he's going to get it soon, in spite of a couple of, you know, fights that look bad. Oh, well, it's only a profit, but he is thrown back on the cliff. By the way, Kane has gone for a Dagon this game. Not necessarily what you would expect with the kind of lineup they have, but, hey, it could work. It is finding a couple of kills.
Are coming from. Yeah, that backstab, that early Dagon damage is catching MUFC a bit by surprise, and burst damage is how you want to deal with it. They've got the AoE heal from the Chen mech as well as his ultimate, so you just want to find a single target, burst him down. Chen doesn't want to be wasting the heals on one target. Oh, bottom lane. Ben gets picked off, throws one last Stormbolt saying, see you later, guys. And Zenith, they find quick kills, they also continue to farm, so that gold graph is going to dip right back their way.
You said they need to continue to be aggressive. It feels like they have to be permanently 5-manning as well, because the global option for this lineup is just so annoying, and it's especially potent because of the early Dagon, because of the Boots of Travel Rush before Soul Rain, before the bottle. It's working out pretty well. Zenith, you know, they still held on to the tier 1 mid. That is by far the most important tower here. They haven't lost the tier 2 bottom. Quite significant for Roshan control as well. MUFC got to keep on finding these fights. They got to keep the aggression up. They can't get complacent. Maybe you allow your Sven to finish his BKB, but that's it. You can't wait for an Enigma BKB in 5 minutes, I don't think. I think they've really got to, you know, go for another smoke gank, maybe just to get an early gem, do some dewarding so that Zenith are a little more reluctant to farm aggressively. They denied the tower mid. Thinking maybe they should have kept that up, but figured it was going to die soon anyway.
Yeah, for the time being, MUFC just happy to make sure they deny that little bit of gold here. And they're going to be looking to... Really, like you say, all they can do is maybe 5-man. That's how they can deal with that global presence of Zenith. The problem is Zenith, they're looking to just play passive defensive farming style of game. Ice 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 with this Relic up. He's going for a Radiance, not going for the survivability options of the Lincoln Sphere, Vanguard, Heart. These items are on the agenda for later on in the game. Right now, he just wants to continue to farm. And, well, this Radiance is going to just accelerate that farm very fast. And you know, we're already reaching that point, and this is with what looked like a pretty strong, powerful start for MUFC. We're still at a point where 16 minutes in, Naga's gonna have a Radiance in a couple of minutes. Tinker's already got the Max March, he's got the Boots of Travel. They're farming Ancients, they're pushing all the lanes, they're ganking with the Prophet ult just to create a little bit of freedom for these other farmers to move around the map. MUFC, you know, by no means are they out of the game, by no means are they in a bad position, but it's a tough position. It's a position where you really have to play well, have to play better than you normally would, or you're going to start losing tons of towers
and Roshan, and this one is only going to make it harder to gank Tinker. The Blink Dagger is online for XY.
Oh, this is going to be very pesky. It's really a scenario where Zenith, they can afford to make mistakes and still be in this game. And in fact, their style of play, there will be some slight misjudgments. They're going to be really looking to push the limits with their split push. Heroes will get picked off here and there with MUFC smoke ganking or just catching out heroes, but that's kind of what you're kind of expecting for Zenith. You're not going to be able to always get out of there in time. But if you're pushing out the lanes and just preventing MUFC from grouping up and pushing them to win for them, but it's going to be Bane in the mid lane getting initiated on, but Blind actually forces the heroes back, and MUFC, they get prevented from being too aggressive here. Zenith, once again, they hold off the aggression of MUFC.
Oh, Sharky's trying to TP out. He will do so. They don't want to go in. They did have a Naga sleep. Thought maybe they try and catch a few retreating heroes. One tactic you can use is to sleep and then run forward, and then the sleep wears off on Enigma because he gets out of range, and you can kind of isolate and pick him off, but they want to hold on to it for a bigger engagement. They're not going to choose to use it there. And in comes potential aggression on Ohio, not really committing to this. Ohio is going for what looks to be a quick BKB. Interesting choice. There's something that he really wants, I guess just doesn't want to get focused down in these fights, but you know, if they catch him, they can still focus him. They have Fiend's Grip, they have Net, but just makes him a target you have to blow one of those spells on, which in its own right is going to make it quite a nuisance.
Yeah, I don't feel this is a lineup you have to go BKB against. They haven't got a huge AoE team fight. There's no Tide Ravagers. There's no big AoE. I mean, there's the AoE spells that just sort of spam you from long range, but BKB doesn't help against that. BKB helps if you want to go initiating in and there's a bunch of disables. There aren't really that many disables outside of the Bane coming from Team Zenith, but I guess just the burst damage from the Dagon from the other nukes is going to be cause him problem enough that he wants to go for BKB and just some survivability. He needs raw HP.
Like Pew Pew says, it is a really farming game. That's what we expected with the Zenith lineup. That's really been their I don't know if their claim to fame, but just their preferred style of play. And I guess that they're establishing themselves as having this split pushing style. This is by no means the first time we've seen them use it in GEST Dota 2. Hasn't always worked out for the best, but when they've really needed it to pull through, it has. MUFC, I wonder what the timing they're looking for is. They've got the BKB up on Sven. They've got the Mask Commandus coming soon. Maybe needs 1,000 gold for that. Leshrac is poor. He's a support. He's not getting anything big anytime soon. Chen, not too far off an Aghanim. Nobody's building a pipe, which is a bit of a concern against Tinker's March of the Machines and Prophet's Ult. And the Riptide, well, plus the Radiance. A lot of spells, a lot of abilities you really want to have a pipe versus, but they're in no rush to build them.
They found Sharky. Nature's Prophet comes in from the trees, and Sharky nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. He gets picked off, and MUFC are just they're kind of half grouped up. You've got 2 heroes at top, 2 near mid. They're just not really committing to any action on the map. They're trying to farm themselves, but this is not a game where you can be looking to out-farm Zenith. Sure, the Sven and someone in the late game can be a potent carry, but against the mobility of this Zenith team, you don't want to go too late.
He's up against 2 natural Hex carriers and a Tinker and a Prophet. He's up against 2 heroes who have abilities that go through BKB, who can lock you in place even when you're trying to man mode in the Net, the Ensnare, and of course in the Enfeeble as well, just to reduce his damage, and more importantly, the Fiend's Grip. He's not going to be able to carry this late game unless they catch those heroes out. Once the items come up, eventually, you know, it gets pretty easy to win a team fight as this Zenith lineup. As strange as it sounds now, when you look at the abilities, MUFC should have the upper hand in early to mid engagements, but when it goes late, it's really Zenith who will have the advantage with items.
Yeah, just the hero composition as well does favor Zenith. I mean, you mentioned Fiend's Grip as a counter to Sven. That's going to be a very useful component. Sven, who has already got the BKB, having that ultimate to go through it and prevent him from just running in and cleaving people down. It's one way to deal with the Naga Siren illusions, and also just to find the Keeper of the Light, prevent him from spamming away in these team fights, get out of the blind. But for now, it's just Zenith marching down bottom, just continuing to spam this as much as possible, and Sven can't engage because of that Bane ulti.
He also can't engage because he's dying to Illuminate as well as March of the Machines. See, that's the Oh, the Radiant Solutions come in. Kent's got a juke hither and thither. And in fact, he might get caught out. The Prophet ult bounces through. Oh, it's not going to hit. Kent's almost dead, and he's dying to nothing. I mean, he's dying to stuff that he can't even see. He's dying to bullets that are bending around corners. This is just the most annoying lineup in the world. Oh, boy. And now they're working on the tower. They're taking towers without having to fight.
This is This is the cheese in action, and Zenith are executing it so well right now. They've just taken down a T2 tower without a fight, and they're going to look to push on. They can just keep on spamming things out. They don't have to commit to a full-on push in the bottom lane. They just want to get these other T2 towers, maybe even take Roshan sometime in the near future, but it is Naga Siren going top, trying to get up that next big item, which will probably be something. I mean, if they're playing this split push style, maybe we see a Manta style. Forget survivability coming from a heart. Just go for the Manta style to give that additional illusions to try just do as much damage as possible when pushing.
Well, there is a Sven, so more illusions sounds nice, but if they get cleaved, they might die fast, but it just gives you more ways to farm as well. You can farm the jungle even faster. You just have such an army of Nagas, and that Radiance effect, of course, does work on illusions, so Manta's, I think whatever he wants is going to be fine this game. You know, he's at a point where he doesn't have to do it alone. That's the one thing that I think Zenith really value about this kind of draft. You've got heroes who go late, but you have multiple heroes who can help you out. It's not like they have just a fat teammates. They have a Naga, a Prophet, and a Tinker, all of whom can be pretty high impact in that 30 to 50 minute mark window.
For MUFC, they've got a Sven. He's going to be the real source of damage for them. Sure, the Enigma Black Hole's going to be crucial as well, and we're going to have to see some big Black Holes from Sharky, followed up by Ken with this Sven just cleaving through people. But as far as other sources of damage and strong teamfight disables, it's just not really much there. Maybe when Leshrac gets up at BKB, we can see some additional damage being done. Chen just going to provide a few heals, and Rubik, unless he can, maybe if he can steal something really powerful in these fights, he can make something happen, but I'm not sure what spell that is going to be. Song of the Siren, probably the best thing, just to set up a Black Hole, but apart from that, not much else is going to really help out in these team fights.
I mean, maybe something like, well, this is going to be a good start. They're going to catch out Sawamon, and that is the easiest kill ever. Bane is not living through that. But they really have to kill the split pushers to allow them to get aggressive and start knocking down towers, and they haven't yet. XY and Kane immediately pressuring the bottom lane. Ice the top. We've seen this movie before, and this movie, well, it's a long one. This is the Titanic of movies as far as games go. We might be in for, well, not 2-3 hours, but the Dota equivalent of that. They're going to try to tempt Roche, but they're giving up a tier 2 top to do this. They're giving up possibly some damage on their base towers, and it's not guaranteed they get it either. They are chewing through it rather quickly, but in comes the March. Remember, there is no pipe on the side of MUFC. They will be taking quite a bit of damage. Sharky forced to BKB just to dodge the Illuminate. Song of the Siren is here, but they can't steal the Aegis because of the BKB. Sharky is down to 12 HP, and he's still dropping. Will they be able to find him? He's dying to the Radiance Bird. He is alive. Mech, Hand of God, helps to keep him alive. Now they turn on to Kane. Kane getting picked off. Zenith has used a lot of their early spells, but Ken being focused down. There is still a Fiend's Grip not being employed. Sleep stolen by Net, and or taken off of the Sven by Net, I should say, to allow his teammate to escape. Another barrage of rockets driving MUFC back. Overall, MUFC come out pretty well from that. I honestly was a little surprised that they tried to fight that. I thought Zenith would just continue split pushing. They're not done yet. They want Sharky, though. Radiance Bird, he can't actually get out of here. He is absolutely screwed. Will drop. They get a counter kill, and, well, sad Enigma.
sad Enigma this game. He hasn't found many openings with those Black Holes or to get into this game, but it's, like you say, a decent fight for MUFC. They get the Aegis, they get out of there, and Zenith weren't really in position, didn't get there in time to engage. Naga Siren got there just at the end, did get off the ultimate, but the BKB on both Enigma as well as Sven allowed Sven to still pick up the Aegis, and, well, Zenith, they didn't want to fight into that BKB already being cast. I believe it was the 10-second BKB, so that was really a smart time for MFC to go into Roshan. They saw Naga Siren out of position at top and just capitalized on that little window of opportunity. So from here on out, it makes Zenith's life a little bit harder, but they've still just got this huge ability to just prolong the game.
What's amazing to me is XY is the lead farmer on Zenith, and that's just a testament to, well, he has, I guess he's gotten a couple of towers, because as far as creeps go, he's behind the Naga Siren by quite a bit, but maybe she has an item on the way. That's gotta be it. Yeah, it looks like, oh, that's why it is. A completed Harp Thrust, so it's actually Naga's our lead farmer. But Tinker's got a Scythe of Ice, and this is the late game power of this lineup. The multiple natural Hex carriers, heroes who can farm them up reliably, and Tinker, and Prophet. And now they've got a Blink Hex to work with, they've got the Naga Net. They are getting so much single target lockdown that it doesn't matter that MUFC have maybe a bit more AoE lockdown, because that's countered by these Scythe of Ice, by the Net and the Feed Script that go through BKB. MUFC feeling, I think, a little bit like backs are against the wall, like they have to find an opening, but GoDz, where is that opening going to be?
Well, it's got to be some more smart smoke ganks. They need to find heroes. The ganks they've had succeed earlier on near the T2 tower. They get heroes like the Bane. They need to find the key heroes, the big heroes, the Tinker as well as the Nature's Prophet. Ganking the Naga Siren is just, it's possible. He hasn't got a Lincoln Sphere, hasn't gone BKB or anything, but just getting Naga Siren and doing enough damage to go through the heart before Naga Siren pops ultimate is very difficult. So they have to just sort of predict, I would say, some of the Tinker's movements around the map, where he's going to TP, and try lay some traps so that they can pick him off.
And you'll notice how this kind of strategy works. It's not just that they push the lanes. Well, disconnect from Kane, so we have a little time to break it down, but they push the lanes and then they start farming everywhere else. They push the lanes, they go farm their own entrance, they go farm the enemy jungle. You can see Naga illusions just all over the place, stealing some neutrals, trying to kill off some Chen creeps. And you know, it's Ice is the most aggressive farmer because he's got that Song of the Siren, which, by the way, is about to be the level 3 version, at which point it's got that just excruciating 1 minute cooldown. But Zenith, that's where the fun really stops.
Yeah, it's not really a pretty sight, this scoreboard for MUFC fans, although they are still in this game. I mean, they've they've taken towers, they're getting some kills here, they're keeping things at least close. As far as the XP goes, they're pretty much dead even. The gold graph only 5k difference for 27 minutes. That's not an insurmountable lead. So MUFC just need to take some team fights, which is what their lineup's designed to do. The one thing I feel they really need is going to be that Blink Dagger on Sharky's Enigma.
And also with that, you know, you'd think maybe they need a pipe as well. There's just the Tinker, you know, I talked about earlier. There's a lot of magical spells, and sure, you've got your Chen Heal, you've got some BKBs. Those don't stop March of the Machines, and you get low enough in these fights, that's where, you know, Tinker buys back, Prophet buys back, they drop an ult in, you know, Tinker TPs in, starts hexing heroes, lasering them down. And you got to be worried about the buybacks from this end of the squad. They don't have them currently, but I think we're going to see them start to save for them now.
Yeah, it makes it, you kill them once, you think you've won the fight, and then they're suddenly TPing right back in and turning the fight on its heels. And that's something which MUFC have to be very careful of as well. Sure, they maybe get that good initiation with a black hole, kill off 2 and have a 5v3 scenario, and then if they get too aggressive with that, buybacks can just turn things around.
Here comes the prediction that you talked about. Can they actually catch XY? Nope.
Well,
that was a short-lived window.
That is going to be trouble. It's hard to do that. Blink Dagger, he casts the march and immediately find nearby trees to blink into. Rearms can blink out again, or can you just TP home? So, not a fun hero to try and gank. Not fun at all. And for now, it's MUFC just playing. They're kind of fallen into this farming game themselves. They've decided, okay, let's try get our own big items up. Get the Blink on Enigma, get Leshrac the BKB, and get Chen an Aghanim Scepter. Chen more than halfway to an Ag Scepter. This is a very farmed Chen coming out of lane.
Will he ever get to use it? Will he ever get to use his ult? I think we've seen 2 or 3 Hands of God in a 8-minute game, and you know, that's just a testament to the relatively small number of ganks that we've seen. I really liked what you said about they're playing Zenith's game, and that's what we're seeing right now. They're trying to farm. They don't have another option, but they've allowed Zenith to, despite having a bit of a slow start, giving up some early kills, Zenith is dictating the tempo, and they're saying, we're going to play a farm game, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. You're going to have to farm too, because if you don't, you lose by default. And even if you farm, well, good luck out farming us. The two of the top farmers are the Tinker and the Naga, and the Prophet is not far behind.
Yeah, the one thing MUFC have going for them, I think, is that their heroes can do a lot with minimal items, whereas Zenith, they need those big late game items before they can actually win the game. It's this annoying constant split push, and then around the sort of 40, 50, 60 minute mark, that's when they have 3, 4 big items on these heroes and can actually, when they win a fight, they can take racks so they can win the game. But for MUFC, they can still fight even with minimal items, which is why Zenith is still playing this very safe, very slow. And, well, MUFC, they just say, okay, we'll just try our best to keep up. We're not going to be able to out-farm you, but we can at least stay close.
Just look at the map right now. If you just toggle over to Dire Vision, this is depressing. Look at the heroes, the positioning just so far up on the map, all of the lanes pushing in. The Radiant, they see nothing. They can't leave. It's you know, some teams, they try to execute split push, but they get caught out and they die. Zenith are not doing that. They're really not giving... You know, even when we saw the Tinker maybe in what looked like slightly a bad position, rearms, blinks away instantly. It's just, they do seem to have a very great understanding of, you know, who should be the one pressuring, who should be the one running away at any time, and that makes this game of Whack-A-Mole incredibly difficult for MUFC.
I mean, it's really MUFC with control over maybe 1/8 of the map. Zenith have vision and control over a good 6 or 7/8 of the map. It's just absolutely insane how much they can use that to just out-farm their opponents. They can farm their opponents' neutrals. They can just force their opponents to be sitting in their own base, unable to leave and get the farm they need, get that next level of items. Leshrac can't get up that BKB. We're seeing Enigma just unable to go into those neutrals to farm a Blink Dagger. Still 300 gold away from it. Sharky's been trying to get this Blink for a long, long time.
And here comes this part. This is sort of like, we know the game plan, right? This is step 1 is get your core items up. Step 2 is start out farming your opponents with the split push. Step 3 is siege them with your cheeky little push power. You have the Riptide, you have the illusions, you have the Treant's going to work, constant mark spam. We're probably never going to see a big fight if Zenith play their cards right, if they're able to execute properly. We're just going to see them whittle away this tower, chunk by chunk, bit by bit.
And speaking of cheeky, Leshrac with a Shadow Amulet. She was actually hiding an Invis. We're seeing a Shadow Blade Bane. Sorry, not Leshrac, Bane. Bane with a Shadow Amulet.
Oh, I was wondering what he's doing there. Didn't actually check his items.
Was sitting Invis and like waiting for someone to come out. Maybe it looked like Leshrac saw him go Invis because Leshrac was stunning on top of where he was Invis. So.
It does have a pretty long fade time, 2.6 seconds. So it's more of just like a. It's almost like laughing at them, I feel, as opposed to like a serious play by Swamon.
Yeah, I mean, look at Swamon. He's really not been involved in this game, but not by any bad play from him. It's just this entire split push. Where does he fit into it? There's not much he can actually contribute to this style of play. The other 4 heroes, I should say, Keeper of the Light, and really useful at continuing to push out these lanes. And also, late game Spirit Form, having the recall, is just so powerful. Not to mention the blind as a semi-counter to the Sven can be make Keeper of the Light a very powerful mid to late game hero.
You know, I would really like to see MUFC just try something a little bit odd to break out. If you like smoke up, run around that bottom lane, try and circle up towards mid instead of just trying to run head on at them or just sitting back. That tower's already lost about 2/3 of its health. A little bit less than that, closer to half so far, but it'll be 2/3 soon. They can't do this for too much longer. It's getting to that point where Tinker looks to be building a Manta style, maybe a Linken's, but Manta just gives you even more illusions to throw at these towers, and Ice is going to have one soon of his own.
I'd love to see some Manta cells here. It seems to be the game plan, just chip away at these towers. They've been sending in Naga Siren illusions and just getting off cheeky little right clicks whenever possible from the Tinker, and they'll just slowly whittle away at this base. It's not a fight that MUFC are losing, but they're by no means winning it, and it's just going to be a slow and steady crumble.
This is brutal. This is brutal. MUFC have just been sitting here watching for a good 3 minutes, guys. They gotta try smoking out one of these side lanes, or hell, just run straight up mid. But they can't just sit back like this. This isn't working for them.
Well, it's really not, and Zenith are just showing some incredible patience. It's like they're eating this cookie just crumb by crumb. They're not going all out and just taking a big chomp. They're not looking to dive on into this base. They're being methodical about it. They're taking their time. They know that they'll get through it eventually. It's MUFC who have to do something, have to prevent this push from happening. If Zenith go diving in, that's a fight they can lose. So for now, they're happy just to not take that fight. And they know if MUFC come in, they've got that Nagasone ultimate as sort of the get out of jail free card.
Well, it's not
going to be so difficult.
There are 3 BKBs, so it's not a total get out of jail free card, but it depends on the timing. If he gets it off at the right time, then they all get away. If not, maybe it's not enough. But again, it's also got the 1 minute cooldown, so he can afford to use it. If it doesn't work out, okay, that's not a big deal. Even if they lose a big fight, by the time MUFC push out the lanes, that sleeps off cooldown again. We also want to start looking at buyback, and it sounds a little bit silly. Naga only has 1. Oh, Naga's the only one to have it, but really your Prophet's got a Hex, your Tinker's got a Hex, and he's going to have a Manta or a Lincoln soon. We're probably going to see all 3 of these semi-carries start to have buyback in the next couple minutes.
Yeah, it's MUFC win a fight, it's not going to mean a whole lot. If Zenith win a fight, it could mean Raxus. So MUFC, it's going to be a long, long game for them if they're looking to come back. We're going to have to see some big 4 or 5 slotted Sven, even Leshrac, Enigma. Both these heroes are going to need a lot of farm. Enigma's got the Blink Dagger up, so we've got the Blink BKB. But Enigma can get much more farm. So looking at Sheep Sticks, Refresher Orbs, this is going to be a game where MUFC, if they want to take this game, they're going to have to really just endure. And not a very... I see some people in the chat mentioning this is not going to be the most fun game to play. It's going to be so frustrating if you're MUFC, and even for Zenith. I mean, they're probably somewhat glad because they can tell they're continually getting closer and closer to winning, but this is a very very painful game for these players, I can imagine.
Like you said, it's meticulous, and it requires a ton of patience, both from the team executing it and from the team that's playing against it. This game, it's much more about your mental process than it is about mechanical skills. Sure, it's important on tiers like Tinker, on a Enigma where you gotta hit a black hole, but more than anything, it comes down to stamina, and it comes down to endurance, which I guess are the same thing after all.
Yeah.
Just comes down to that mindset of not getting frustrated and not getting caught out of position. And it comes down to Red Bull as well, or some sort of energy drink.
Some sort of energy. The worry is Ice has a huge amount of farm. He's actually just going to go random in this mid lane. Pops the Song of the Siren, BKB, Black Hole, and Ice. I'm not sure about that shot. He grips up immediately, and oh dear. BKBs are used, and MUFC just do not find the opening they were after.
And there's the counter to that, counter to the black hole. First it was the Bane ult on him, now it's Ken getting caught out of position, getting brought down. Sharky next in line. Disaster ensues for MUFC, who needed a perfect fight and just are not able to find it. The rack should fall soon. Ice has that ult up in 30 seconds, so even if they get into trouble and have to disengage, not only is the black hole on cooldown, but they'll have that ability to do so. Sleep onto Ken. Got kited. You can see Mask of Madness with BKB just makes you so squishy to March. He lost so much health. XY is just chewing through him, out DPSing the Sven almost, just with the rocket spam. Now Ice comes in. They chopping through them. They're chewing through them. Overwhelmed. You called it. They couldn't make one mistake. They made a few in that fight, and that is pretty much GG. Dying, not with a bang, but with quite a few whimpers. Frustrating and painful to watch.
Too much to go through those BKBs, but from the Fiend Script, the Ensnare, one being used to counter the Enigma, one for the Sven, and then on top of that, you've just got Naga Siren, who is more than double the CS of the Sven.
Drop your items, Ice. No, he's not gonna do it.
Not again, not again. Ice with 350 creep kills, Sven is sitting on 179. This is a massive farm difference, and Naga Siren now. Manta Style, 2.5k gold. This is just a big discrepancy between the two teams, and even with MUFC starting to land the black holes, getting some good team fights, it's going to be really hard for them to win now that they've lost a set of Raxes and they're falling further and further behind item-wise.
Well, you gotta figure some of these heroes are getting banned. I think the big one is the Naga, but even the Prophet Tinker combo, you really don't want to give both those away to Zenith, because there are other carries besides Naga that can split push quite effectively, finding kills with the illusions on Sharky. Nowhere is safe, not even the damn fountain. This is a team full of snipers, and well, they're shooting fish in a barrel at this point. MUFC just unable to leave the base. Ohio BKBs, just a desperation attempt to kill Prophet, who's created potentially a trap for himself. No, actually telekinesis does kill the tree, so never mind that, but a stun on two. Ken comes in. They will find what looks to be 2 kills, except for poor Staff, the bane of a hero's like sense. Speaking of banes, now he's sleeping him. This time it's the Naga sleep. This is a team full of sleeps, a team full of ways to make you very sad. Chen next in line. Leshrac probably to fall as well. Ohio sprouted up, held in place, can't do anything. Ice still at full HP. Chen will fall. Top Rax was taken, and this will finally prompt the GGs. MUFC probably want to go splash some water on their faces, maybe just claw their eyes out after this game number 1.
MUFC want one of those little Men in Black little clicker things which just forget the last hour of their life. That was painful for them. That was not a fun game. It was. There's games you lose where you're like, you can say, okay, we lost because of the draft, we lost because of this lane, we lost because of this slight misplay or bad decision. But this game, it's just like they can point out why they lost, but it was just like that was.
Right.
It was a very slow and painful death, and not the kind of game mentally that you want to have going into a game 2. It's really a game you've just got to forget and play a new, fresh game and look to sort of execute game 2. You just can't look to take this game and let it get to you for game number 2, because mentally right now, MUFC, this game's been tough for them.
Grueling, and you really do see what a difference Ice makes for this team. His Naga control, I have to say, yeah, we talk about all the Chinese players and how good they're at farming. Ice, if he has any kind of a decent start on Naga, his illusion control and the way he's able to push and farm absolutely the most efficient possible number of creep camps and lanes is incredible. He was single-handedly keeping most of those lanes pushed. Tinker helped, Prophet helped, but it really was the Naga that made the difference. Just getting the map control up, making up for a few bad fights. Even the fights that looked bad, like that early engagement top, sleeps, wastes 5 heroes TPs, and gets away. Great performance all around by Zenith. A frustrating one for MUFC and GoDz. We're heading into game 2 with Ice on the brink of having to decide which team he's going to play for in the grand finals. Assuming he makes it there, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in. You're watching the GEST Dota 2 semifinals. This is tournament presented to you, of course, by Beyond the Summit, brought to you by DotaTalk.com. Be sure to check them out. Facebook.com/DotaTalk. Be sure to follow and support these players as well. But stay tuned. Don't go anywhere and expect to see at least a Naga ban. Game 2, MUFC backs up against the wall. Zenith looking to take one more to take this series with a clean 2-0 sweep. Orange is waiting for one of these teams in the grand finals. We'll be back in a jiffy.